Metaphor, a figure of speech that finds similarities between two things, from the Greek metaphora, literally to carry one thing into another. It's a way that we writers can make infinite shades of meaning, just as an artist can make infinite shades by mixing the colours together on our palette. Aristotle believed using metaphor was a sign of genius. Certainly it can facilitate economy of expression. If you write that your room was like a prison cell, then that conveys a range of meanings that would otherwise take paragraphs to expound. But a lot of people do get into trouble when writing metaphors. Here are two failed similes from American high school essays. Her hair glistened in the rain like nose hair after a sneeze. John and Mary had never met. They were like two hummingbirds who had also never met. Unfortunately, it turns out that those aren't actually really from American high school essays. The story's apocryphal. They were made up deliberately. But it is true that a lot of writers can get into a real mess with metaphor. Even great writers, like Ernest Hemingway. Hemingway was a wonderful writer, but his flair was not for metaphor. On the few times that he attempted metaphor, he sometimes got into a terrible mix. Take this example from A Farewell to Arms, for instance. You had lost your cars and your men as a floor walker loses the stock of his department in a fire. There was, however, no insurance. You were out of it now. You had no more obligation. If they shot floor workers after a fire in the department store because they spoke with an accent they had always had, then certainly the floor walkers would not be expected to return when the store opened again for business. They might seek other employment if there was any other employment and the police didn't get them. What's he on about? I've absolutely no... That's supposed to be a guy escaping the First World War or something. Madness. But equally, you have to avoid the opposite. Given that the whole point of metaphor is to present the world in new and interesting ways, there's nothing more tiresome than reading a hackneyed old metaphor. You can probably get away with dead metaphors. Those are metaphors that have been used for so long that we no longer notice their metaphors. For instance, he filtered through the possibilities until he found one that fitted. You just hear that as literal meaning. But with that exception, you should generally, as George Orwell advised, avoid using any metaphor that you've already seen in print. You also probably want to avoid mixed metaphors. Mixed metaphors are when you compare something to two things at once. For instance, the lock tolled like a pistol being cocked. Well, which is it? Is it like a bell or is it like a pistol? As a general rule, if you compare A with B, you probably shouldn't also compare it with C for at least a page. Although, of course, as with most rules of writing, this one's often worth breaking. Finally, you got to remember to avoid inappropriate comparisons, such as this one from Ian Fleming. Bond's knees, the Achilles heel of all skiers, were beginning to break. Bond's knees were his Achilles heel. Great times. In the next video, I'll be talking about the secret to metaphor, and that'll be just as much fun. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your writing.